Optimal health for high performers. This is the Health Upgrade Podcast with Dr. Nawaz Habib.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Health Upgrade Podcast. This is Dr. Habib, and I'm in for a huge treat today, and so are all of you. I'm really excited to be sharing this platform with the Holistic Kids. Boys, it's wonderful to have you here. I'm really excited about your upcoming book. This is wonderful, The Teen Health Revolution. We're really excited. Show us the book. I'd love to kind of share it with everybody here so everybody knows what to look for. The Teen Health Revolution, Unlocking Lifestyle Secrets for Mind, Body, and I missed the last one. And soul, of course. Wonderful. This is amazing stuff. You guys are so young and you've written what seems like an amazing book. And I'm really excited to dig into this book with you guys to share what the issues are that are affecting teens, that are affecting kids, and to help upgrade their health outside. So before we get into the book, tell me a little bit about you guys. What are your names? Let's talk about everything you guys first, and what brought you to want to write the book.
So let's first start with names. I'm Zain.
I'm Yoad.
And I'm Abdullah.
Amazing. And yeah, tell me what introduced this idea of writing a book, other than mom being an amazing high performer, which is amazing. But tell me about that. What was the prompt?
So at the beginning, we were blessed to have a mom who was teaching us a lot of this information as she was learning herself. So we were learning a lot of this information at a young age, and we were incorporating it into our lifestyle. And during the pandemic, everyone was so worried about their health. So our mom was like, you know what? You guys should use this information to help other kids. And we were like, yeah, we should definitely do that because a lot of kids are going to need it. So that's what started our podcast. And now we interviewed over 200 plus experts, and we've gained so much information, and a lot of kids around the world, and adults and parents, have also gained a lot of information.
And that's why we then we have all this information, even information from you as well, because we interviewed you on our podcast. And we had so much beneficial information that could benefit so many people around the world that we decided to put it in one simple to easy to read book that anybody could use to, better their life, apply simple tips that can help boost their health. And actually, a lot of these tips are free that anybody can use. And that's really what we've been trying to strive for, that any teen, any kid, any adult can just take control and charge of their own life instead of having to live on a pill or living attached to the pharmaceutical industry their entire life, so that they can use lifestyle to kind of heal themselves, just like we did and our mom did.
That's amazing.
Yeah, and teens were really neglected space to talk about in health. Whenever we looked at teen books, they're only talking about maybe puberty or hormones or mental health. We never talk about the whole aspects of health, like physical, spiritual, and mental, like everything. So that's what we really wanted to bring with our book. Make it a guide, make it very easy for teens to understand.
Yeah, that's wonderful. You're absolutely right. I think the teen population is one that's very challenging for a lot of doctors to get through to. And for some reason, there's definitely a bit of a block when it comes to supporting this group of individuals between kind of the 12 to 18, 12 to 20 years of age. And I think it has a lot to do with the fact that it's a transitional time for you guys. There's a lot going on. And I think you guys coming out and sharing your perspective from having gone through or going through these ages, I'm really excited to hear about some of the initial kind of basic foundational things that you plugged into the book, because you've interviewed so many wonderful guests besides me, which is wonderful. And I want to learn a little bit about what were those initial learnings that prompted you to say, let's go and talk to these teens, let's go and talk to this age group that just doesn't seem to be the focus of a lot of healthcare?
Well, first of all, our generation is suffering. And this has kind of helped prompted this entire thing in the first place. I mean, 1 in 2 kids have at least one persistent health issue. The CDC just came out and said that 1 in 3 teens have prediabetes. 3/4 of adolescents are dealing or have experienced depression and anxiety. And actually, even 1 in 3 teen girls have seriously thought of suicide. And these statistics can go on and on and on. What we need to focus on, though, is that there's always hope and that this doesn't have to keep getting worse and worse and worse. And we realized, and it's kind of that teens usually don't listen to adults. And so we wanted to do teens to teens. We wrote a book for teens by teens. Does anyone want to add anything?
Yeah, so the book, Abdullah said it was written for teens by teens, and we really made it like a guide, so lots of teens could easily just flip to a page, learn about a specific topic, get information from New York Times bestsellers, from amazing experts like you, and they could incorporate it with their lifestyle. So that's what's amazing about this book.
And plus, what we realized with our classmates, our peers, our friends around us, was that actually most teens don't know why they're getting sick. And this is a problem. A lot of teens now, it's normalized. If you have eczema, that's fine. You're going to deal with that for the rest of your life. It's like everybody has eczema nowadays. Or if you have sinus issues all the time, like that's just a normal part of life. But when reality, you don't have to live like that. And that there's always hope. And that's why we want to give to teens, because we also experienced it. And so many people around the world can change their lives and reach their true potential if they could only start realizing what they're doing to their bodies, and they start being more mindful about their everyday actions. And that's why we're trying to educate teens, is because it's not that teens don't want to do it. It's not that teens don't want to fix their lifestyle, because everybody wants to be healthy. Everyone wants to be able to be, like they say, in order to be successful as an adult, you kind of need your health. And so every single teen wants that. The problem is that most teens just don't know how.
I think one of the best ways to kind of explain this to people is health is your ceiling, right? It's funny enough, it's even probably your floor. If you don't have good health, you don't have a platform truly to stand on when it comes to being productive and going out and fulfilling your complete potential. And then if you don't have your health, whatever potential you do have is limited because you don't have full productivity capabilities and optimal brain function and optimal body function. So it's so important, especially at a young age where your body is developing, right? Your bodies, when you're a kid, when you're a teenager, are in absolute growth and development phase. And if you're incorporating things that are not clean, things that are not beneficial to your growth, it's going to hinder your growth long term. And I think that's so important as just a fact to hit when it comes to this particular population and this age group. You talked about how the book is organized in a relatively easy guide way where anybody can flip open a page and have some empowerment, some hope, or some recommendation that they can implement. How did you guys organize the book so that it's an easy guide for the reader to go through?
So we organized the book into 3 sections. Like the first one's talking about why we need this book and the teen health revolution. The teens in this generation are suffering. Like Abdul was talking about the statistics, it's just getting worse. And the second section was talking about revolution, where we go through every letter of revolution as an acronym, talking about revolutionizing the gut, eating real food, vanquish toxins.
So the acronym. So we have I was saying L, right?
Love nature.
U.
Unite with others.
T.
Tech limits.
I.
Invest in sleep.
O.
Open to gratitude and purpose.
And N. Navigate your decisions with mindfulness. And so we decided to put these in those easy chapters. I mean, they're not complicated. I'm pretty sure anybody can really benefit from them. And after that, we decided to put over 20 chronic conditions that teens are dealing with today. So yes, we have acne in them, we have digestive issues, mood disorders, and how to use that integrative approach to add to your conventional care so that you can help just become that true potential of yourself.
We also have recipes in the back, shopping lists, Zan drew the pictures,
Yes.
and there's jokes, recaps, and at the very end of each chapter, talks about what we do. So that can really bring a role model of what it's actually is hope because we did it.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Studies.
And the last section, because Mott said that there's 3 sections, this is when we go through 20 chronic conditions teens are dealing with today.
Yeah, and then also I think we also have a bunch of recipes and lots of the recipes and stuff in the back.
Mm.
And so basically it's we have the information, but we also have the practical aspect of it. Because let's be completely honest here, nobody wants to read a really lengthy, tons of studies, tons of big words that most people don't even know. And so we wanted to keep it simple and easy that even kids can understand.
I would love to dig into a couple of those acronyms, specific things with you guys. I think R stands for real food or something in that realm.
Revolutionize the gut.
Okay, let's start with that. Let's start with why the gut is so important and what can we do? What are people doing that is negatively affecting them? And what are some of the simple changes that teens can make just off the bat for that initial area of affecting the gut?
So the gut is where everyone knows, not everyone, but the microbiome, most of the microbiome exists. And the gut is where really sickness starts to happen. And the gut is actually the second brain, as it is the thing that is really connected to the brain and tells it what to do, with certain issues.
Yeah, when we don't feel well, it's actually due to the wildfire inside our body. As the gut holds 80% of the immune system. So this wildfire that's in our gut is called inflammation, which is very important. But yeah, inflammation is a fire that burns in the inside out. Yeah.
Yeah, and this inflammation that we talk about all the time is actually contributing to the chronic disease epidemic that we have today. I mean, right now, a lot of 32, actually, I know we'll talk about this later, but ultra processed foods, which are destroying our gut, are linked to over 32 chronic conditions.
Mm-hmm.
And so the mental health epidemic as well that we're leading, this chronic inflammation that is ravaging people can lead to brain issues like depression, anxiety, bipolar disorders, immune issues like asthma, allergies, eczema, sinus issues. And the problem is that most people don't realize that what they are eating is directly affecting what happens to their body.
Yeah, and that's why we start with the gut, because your health should start with the gut, because things that we talk about later on, like toxic food or toxins or stress, those are all connected to the gut, and it's just gonna really start our book off with some. It's a little more science, but it's very helpful.
What are some of the things that you say in the book or ways that you guys have figured out to talk about what the microbiome is to teens specifically? Because, it's very kind of random. It doesn't have something that we can visualize. It's very difficult to see. So what are some of the things that you can do to explain to a teenager, or a lot of our listeners have kids that they want to try to explain this to? What are some of the ways that we can talk about the microbiome with them?
I would say the microbiome as a battlefield. So if you eat really bad food, then the bad guys in the gut are gonna attack the good guys, and if they do attack the good guys, then your body's gonna get inflamed. If you eat good real food, then it's gonna help the good guys to fight the bad guys to keep off the diseases.
Yeah,
You want to say?
it's good food is the aid for the good microbiome, while the bad food is weapons that the bad toxins and stuff can use against the good microbiome.
And even simpler, what our mom used to do actually, because she taught us that when I was 7 years old. They were 4. Mad was, he was also around 4 years old once he started to learn about it. But she used to taught us the simple thing was, first of all, good food feeds the good bugs, bad food feeds the bad bugs. And we want to keep the good bugs alive, and that's where the microbiome comes in. And also, she used to teach us about how different foods, diversity, how that affects the gut. Apples and pomegranate are going to affect the gut. You need both of them to help. And so that's what our mom used to teach us, especially when we were younger. And I think that's helped a lot since then.
I love that. Do you talk at all about what leaky gut syndrome is, or leaky gut, the idea behind it? I'd love to hear how you explain that idea to the listeners or to the readers.
So especially for leaky gut, because our mom used to also talk about this to us a lot. And so when it then comes to, the bad guys and the good guys, a lot of what happens is that once the bad guys start to take control, then the gut starts to kind of like falls into the hands of the enemy, kind of like the bad guys. And that's when all these problems start to happen. That's when you have chronic inflammation, even more chronic inflammation start to happen. Oxidative stress, mitochondrial dysfunction. And especially what's happening now, leaky gut is the reason why we're continuing to suffer, why teens and kids are continuing to suffer. And a lot of people think that, medical conditions usually are affecting adults, when in reality, it's affecting kids like never before. And it all has to do to what kids are putting into their bodies.
Totally. I want to share a little analogy because I think it'll be a really good one. As you guys know, I'm a bit of a Marvel fan, and I watch all the movies and stuff. If you remember did you guys watch the Avengers Infinity War movie?
Yes.
Of course we
you
did.
did. And do you remember the Battle of Wakanda, where Wakanda had their huge vibranium shield over the city? And then do you remember when Thanos' army was coming and they started to break down that barrier? They started to break down the vibranium shield that was covering the city. And some of the bad guys started to get through in small holes initially. And then that small hole got bigger. That to me is this analogy of what a leaky gut is, when the bad guys get strong enough that the barrier opens up and the bad guys get to leak in and all the toxic load gets into our body in that exact way. So just thought an analogy there that was in my head I'd share with your listeners and with your audience. The teenagers need to hear this stuff, and being able to visualize it is so good. So I love that you guys are able to talk about just how important that is, and thinking of it as a battlefield is truly the best way to do this, because you're talking about creating a good, strong, defensive war zone or battlefield that is far more capable of handling other stressors. I want to take a bit of a turn and talk a little bit about mental health and the effects of some of these conditions that a lot of teenagers are dealing with: depression, anxiety, things in that mental health area. What are some of the things you guys talk about in the book with regards to these unfortunate conditions that a lot of people are dealing with?
So first of all, we teens need to start being mindful about what we're doing and what we're putting into our bodies and what we're visually consuming. Because at the end of the day, that's contributing to this mental health epidemic. We're just, mindlessly scrolling until like 2 a.m. at night. We're just, whatever we can find, we're just putting into our mouths. And mindfulness actually is what we like to talk about a lot. Is mindfulness is knowing what you're doing when you're doing it. Mindfulness is being fully present in the world. And when we can start when we start like actually being mindful about what we're doing, we can start making change into our lives. Because the problem is that right now we're just living on on a hamster wheel, just eating, like we said, staying up late, just sitting on the couch playing video games for hours and hours and hours. But when we'll actually start, and actually a lot of this is actually contributing to this mental health epidemic, because teens are not focusing on their mental health. And that's where, first of all, we start. We need to stop living mindlessly. And we talk a lot about food, and we talk a lot about, the gratitude. Gratitude. Or is anyone else listening?
Yeah, I mean, gratitude is really important for a lot of teens, because a lot of teens were always thinking negatively. Either it's from social media, we're constantly comparing ourselves to each other, or it's from looking at the news and looking at how bad, maybe how terrible things are happening around the world, or it's just on our everyday life. Teens are always usually negative, and you can usually see it, like how negative we can be.
No, we are pretty negative. Oh, I hate my life. I hate school. I hate homework. I hate this. I hate that.
Yeah.
Gratitude is what changes your negative subconscious to positive. And when you're positive, and when you have that positive subconscious, you're able to look at the world differently. The problem is that most teens are dealing with mental health. They feel like they're stuck in an abyss, that they're like it's dark around them, that there's no way of getting out. And actually, there is hope. And that's what we like to teach people that are dealing with it, is that just take it step by step. Gratitude. Start being mindful about what you're doing. What do you think? Even like sometimes certain things may actually worsen that mental health. Maybe, you're on social media too much. Notice, maybe when I look at this image or this post about how great this person's life is, that's making me feel bad. And so maybe I need to stop that. Maybe I need to stop scrolling mindlessly. I mean, let's be completely honest here. Who feels great after scrolling for even 2 hours? And now at 2 a.m., like nobody feels good after that.
You're absolutely right.
So yeah, just start each day. Like an easy tip for every teen is to just start each day thinking about at least one thing you're grateful for. And if it's not one, try to increase it. Like every day, slowly start integrating gratitude in your lifestyle. And then you won't even have to force yourself to think about it. It'll just happen like it does with us now.
Yeah, and what you need, especially, and what everyone needs, I think, is just to have some balance in your life as well. Because a lot of times, we also need to go out into nature. We need to do this. But making sure that there's always a healthy balance, that we also, like when you go on social media, we also go in nature. But also, get a good amount of sleep, get a good amount of what you need to do in life. Also, the gut. Like I said, 90% of neurotransmitters are made in the gut. That's where 90% of serotonin, 50% of dopamine, all of that is coming from your gut. So what you do put in your body affects your mental state, and teens need to wake up about this. We're trying to do, I know in school they teach us, go talk to these people, and go do this, go do that, which is great. The problem is that if you're continuing to put junk food and ultra-processed foods into your body, that's also going to be a reason why your brain is not working properly. Obviously, there's always hope and anybody can come out of it, but we need to start changing what we're putting into our mouths. And if we don't do that, it's going to be much, much harder to have contentment in our life, especially when it comes to the mental health aspect.
You're absolutely right. I love the idea of mindfulness and teaching kids to be mindful, and screens are a big part of what's taking us away from that. You talk a lot about nature and incorporating opportunities to get out of our indoor spaces and staring at our scrolling devices and our computers and all the things. We need to be in there, and I love the idea of balance. What are your recommendations when it comes to getting outside, getting some physical activity, breathing clean air, getting into nature? What are some quick tips you have for teens and kids to be able to do that more often?
So first of all, schedule it, because a lot of teens, especially I know our mom used to do, sometimes she used to, she used to just say, oh, we're going out for a hike. And we're like, oh, but we want to do this, we want to do that. What is it? We don't want to go spend half an hour out in nature. But then she's like, okay, fine, we'll do it tomorrow. To be at 4 o'clock to 4:30, just half an hour, even a week. And that's where you started, just half an hour a week, go out into nature, schedule it. And eventually you can increase that. But anything, even 10 minutes a week, just try to implement it into your life. Here's Animal.
Yeah, so nature, our bodies, it's meant to be in nature. So when we're constantly taking ourselves away from nature, putting us on these screens that are not really helping our body because of all the blue light and constant dopamine hits, we forget to really pay attention to what we were put on, what our ancestors have been living through centuries upon centuries.
And plus, there's even science to it. I mean, science has come out and said that actually getting out in nature can relieve stress and lower inflammation. I mean, it improves our physical, mental, social, and even spiritual health. It improves sleep, lowers blood pressure, balances and helps that heart rate variability, increases that mindfulness that we like to talk about a lot, and that also the ability to cope with stress. It also lowers cortisol, increases your energy, and it boosts serotonin, leading to a better mood and an improved ability to focus. And I think this is something that we all need right now. And I think as well, from what I've noticed, especially with my peers and classmates, is that we're kind of staying in home a lot. Like, especially after the pandemic, I think everything now, we barely go outside. Teens are spending people are literally playing 6, 7 games on hours of video games. We're not getting outside enough, and we really need to be, and that's gonna help. That could change our lives if we start implementing that back into our life.
What are some strategies that you guys have to help kids realize how much time they're spending on a screen, playing video games, or scrolling on social media? Are there any tips that you have to help to limit that amount of time? Because it's not like we want to cut it out completely, but we should at least have some way to limit it. Or do you have any recommendations there?
So I didn't know smartphones maybe before high school because they can because they're so young and that's development stage too. And before 16 I try not to have any social media. I think schools should start implementing no phone free schools as it improves more socialization and mental health.
Yeah, also, make it fun. I remember, especially when I was 10, 11, if we're going out into nature and it's not fun, if we can't go out, run around, play sports, then who wants to go do that? And so, more giving us more of a chance to play. Zen, you want to say something?
Yeah, and that's why we talk a lot about mindfulness, because when you're mindful about when teens can be mindful about maybe what's going on in their life, then they can understand or what they're seeing, what they're watching, what they're smelling, and you can understand how to set a limit on your screen.
And that's what I'm saying. That's why I love to bring up mindfulness for teens. Teens, you feel it. You feel it after you spend 2-3 hours on social media, on your phone. You feel it mentally, and we need if we want to be able to be more successful in our life, we need to start putting limits on ourselves so that we can achieve our true potential. Because if we continue to let these phones control us, then we're never going to be able to get anywhere in life. And we need to start waking up now. And that's why we also say a lot, change starts today. Don't wait until you're an adult. Don't wait until you're older. But start today, because the changes you make now are going to benefit you long into the rest of your life.
It's so powerful, a statement. I think that's just so important for people to realize that they have full control over how they spend their time and where they put their attention. There's a lot of books that I've read where the whole concept of what is being pulled is our attention, right? Social media is pulling our attention. Gaming is pulling our attention. Work is pulling our attention, and it needs to in certain ways. And yes, at some time, it's okay to let your attention go. But you're absolutely right. Mindfulness is the key to bringing your attention back to what's happening within you, within your body, within your brain during these times. And if we can train that muscle early on, we can train that and program that in early on, you're absolutely right. That's where the successful people end up building it, is early on in their lives, so that they don't have to learn that lesson down the road when they're 30, 40, 50 years old, right? And that's so huge. We've kind of glossed over sleep, and I think I want to get into sleep as one of those top things that people really need to prioritize. Let's talk about teens and sleep, because even my kids, they're not teens yet. Mine are 8 and 4, but sleep is this thing that they resist every night, and it becomes a real challenge to get them into bed. And I realize we have this pretty significant FOMO, right? Nobody wants to miss out on what's happening around us. We all want to be included. We all want to be awake and enjoying things. But let's talk about how important sleep is, particularly for teens.
Yeah, Maud?
So sleep helps help your body produce proteins that can fight against infection, disease, and improve your immune system, and the battlefields that we were talking about earlier. And if we were get sleep deprived, then we're more likely to get sick. And that can also happen more less sleep equals less stress, more stress. So working on our memory and meditation, storage, organization is can help a lot if we can get a good night's sleep.
And also teaching, your kids why you need to go on to sleep on time, why you have to get, 9 hours of sleep. And that helps a lot, because especially when it comes to teaching kids why they're doing what they're doing. I know most kids, they aren't taught why sleep matters. And that's why a lot of kids don't really want to sleep. They just see it as this thing where they just have to go to sleep because their parents tell them to. And that's why we need to start like teaching. Because our mom taught us, this is what sleep does to you. You feel better when you have more sleep. I'm like, oh yeah, we actually do feel a lot better. And so just teaching our kids can really help, especially when they're, putting in a lot of like resistance against going to sleep.
Your mom and I sound very similar, because I'm constantly, every night almost, reminding my kids that, guess what? You're going to wake up feeling better if you go to sleep at a good time, and you're going to get good sleep. And guess what? You wake up the next morning and you feel so much more refreshed and capable and ready and not as emotional, and you're able to regulate yourself in a much better way. So sleep is really interesting and really, really important for us to be able to talk about. Do you have any specific recommendations on how many hours? You mentioned 8 or 9, but I think, kids that are between, 4 and 10 years old need a little bit more sleep. It can slowly decrease a little bit as we get into our older kind of 15 to 20 age group. But what about that preteen, early teen years? How many hours of sleep do you think those guys need?
I think like 4 to 10 years old, they should get like 10 hours of sleep. And once they start getting like 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, they should start aiming like higher hours of sleep. Because again, preteens and teens are the second most fast growing state of what we do. So that aiming for that more hours of sleep is going to help.
Yeah. So yeah, 10 to 12 for younger kids, but like Amal was saying, we do like a lot of teens. They tend to say, "Oh, we're teenagers. We need less sleep," but actually, in many cases, they will need more sleep. That's why a lot of teens sleep in, because their body needs that extra sleep to be able to keep on going throughout the day.
And that's why we say at least, 10, we say at least like preferably 10 hours, but anywhere between like that 8 to 10 hour like range should be good.
I love that. And you're absolutely right there. You mentioned that teens particularly, and this is, I realize, a very big generalization, but they like to sleep in. And what does that mean? You're exactly right about this. That's them listening to what their body is trying to tell them. If you are having a lot of difficulty getting up in the morning, if it's a drag to get up at 7:30, 8 o'clock in the morning and get your butt ready for school and get out, it's what that means is your body needs more rest. And we need to start talking about starting that sleep earlier and not letting it drag out into that late morning time, right? So what are some recommendations you have for cutting off other activities at night and allowing your brain to say, you know what, it's sleep time? What are some things that teens can do to say, let's get to bed?
I think really increasing your melatonin levels by, let's say, doing something more peaceful and quiet, something that's more, peaceful, quiet, more independent, something that doesn't require a lot of energy, so your body can slowly like get more tired, like dimming the lights in your room like an hour, 2 hour before sleep, stopping blue light, like don't watch like lots of like or TV or gaming or on your scrolling on your phone like at least like an hour before you go to sleep. So you can all do that, and also organizing your room or putting like a house plant in there, because when you can do that and your mind will feel less cluttered when you go to sleep. Yeah.
And also, like Zen mentioned, kind of start winding down about 2 hours before bedtime. So like we like to say, don't go on like screens, like don't expose yourself to blue light 2 hours before. If you can't, then put your phone in like a different room, put it downstairs, or put it if you can't, if that's even like too much, then at least keep it on the other side of the room, right? So anything, because I know obviously as teens and I think even adults, as soon as you see the phone, they have like that. You have like that you just want to grab it sometimes and just see what's on it. So putting it somewhere, putting it on silent so you don't constantly get notifications all the time. Also, decreasing that EMF exposure. Turning some people like say turn off all Wi-Fi routers even right before putting on airplane mode. Sometimes you can even like what do you call it? You can limit, sugar, fake food, caffeine, eating right before you go to sleep. Even some people say exercising right before you go to sleep is not as preferable because then, you don't get as much, you don't get the as good quality of sleep. But at the end of the day, just building that routine where you can go to sleep like we talked to, I think, a lot of people on sleep. And one of the biggest things that they said was go to sleep at the same time, wake up at the same time. Right. And try to implement that, have that routine throughout your life and throughout your weeks and your months. And I think that's going to really help put your body back into balance, especially when it comes to our sleep cycles. Because honestly, our sleep cycles kind of suck. We go to sleep at 11, 12, wake up at, 7 or 6. We need to start focusing more on our sleep.
Couldn't agree more. I think I love those practices. I want to bring up one more area I think could be of very high value and that a lot of people really need to focus on, and that is stress management, learning how to build that resilience into our day-to-day lives. Obviously, I have this lens of everything running through the vagus nerve, and the vagus nerve being our regulatory, parasympathetic, rest, digest, recover area. What are some practices, what are some tools that you guys talk about in the book and that you guys personally use to help with managing stress and how you feel during these moments where you get a text message from a friend that's challenging, or you have these tests or exams that you need to complete and the stress level gets really high? What are some things you guys are doing?
So I think honestly, just breathing is really helped to reduce stress management. Also to help with your vagus nerve. Yeah. So maybe doing the 4 to 7 to 8 breath will help when you different when you're really stressed, and will immediately soothe your nervous system. Empty your air and breathe in for 4 seconds, hold in 7 seconds, and then exhale for 8 seconds. And then honestly, I just also doing fun with breathing. There are different types of breathing styles, like box breathing, like lion breathing. Box breathing is also really great for sharpening focus and reducing stress. These fun ways can also help. All can also help in that way.
And it might not look complicated, and if it's too complicated, a simple deep breath is also just amazing for your body. It's like what we like to call it is it's a reset for your body. It kind of helps you control your emotions, help you put your body back in a state where you can just take a deep breath, look around you and realize, what's happening so you can make better decisions. Actually, breathing and better, if you're able to manage your stress, that's better, that helps with your memory. It actually helps with your focus. It helps with so many aspects of your life that can help you become a better person. And the key to that is just being able to control your breath. Just taking in a deep breath, what I do a lot of times is right before a test, when everyone's the most stressful moment, everyone's trying to cram in as much knowledge as they can, going through all their notes, just taking a deep breath right before, and I realized that I've been able to do better, focus better, and even get better grades on the test. So deep breathing is 100% so beneficial.
Mm-hmm. And also, if you want to limit the stress beforehand, time management is something that teens really suck at. And I mean, I'm always not very good at it. If I know sometimes an assignment is due the day before, then I'm gonna do it. But if it's a project, then I sometimes have to. But I really have to remind myself that, you know what, I need to do this before, so it's less stress the day before. And so yeah, managing your time is gonna be really important. Don't procrastinate.
Yeah, do your best not to push things off to the last minute. That's even good advice for all adults as well. So I love that. And I think that's huge because often we're doing it to ourselves, where we're causing these higher levels of stress just based on the fact that we're not scheduling things in, or we're not conscious of our breathing, because these are the ways that stress management occurs. You guys are speaking my language. I absolutely love it. I want to give you guys a chance to kind of share exactly who this book is written for. Who are the exact right people that would love this? Because I think this is a partnership between the parents and the teens that want to experience better health, and the parents that want to create the opportunities for their kids to live really powerful, long, healthy lives. Who's the exact right reader for your book?
Honestly, I think it's like everybody. Like this book is for everybody. It's mainly targeted for teens, by teens, like that's what we wrote it. But also the parents also want to read it to teach their teens, then it'll be absolutely fine.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, health is health is going to work for all humans. It might be a little different when it comes to diets and stuff like that, but generally health works for everyone. So, but basically what we just did for this book is that we made it very simple. So it'll be more for teens, but adults who need it more simple can use this to really help. We do go a little bit more relatable into the teen life because there are teens writing this book, so we are putting it also some of our lifestyle tricks and stuff into it. So it's going to be really helpful for teens, but adults and kids even too. Don't neglect the book because it's not for you, because it's for everyone.
And at the end of the day, it's really for anybody who wants to better their health. Anybody who wants to be successful in their life, because you can't be successful if you're always trying to fix your health. And at the end of the day, that's what really matters, is putting your body back into balance. So anybody trying to become a better human being, trying to reach their true potential, trying to fix their health and put it back into balance, this book is for them. And even anyone who's even starting to think about it, because nobody in few years down the line wants to be living with prediabetes, wants to be living with chronic inflammation. Nobody wants to be living with mental illnesses. And that's why we need to start taking charge now. And that's why the book is for anybody who sees that and wants to change and wants to put in some effort. And we're not asking you to do an entire diet flip, start doing this diet or doing that. It's simple stuff. Just take a deep breath. It's not that difficult. It's free. It's easy. Just going out into nature, putting some, investing in sleep, gratitude, purpose. Easy, simple. Anyone can do. And just taking it day by day, step by step at a time. And that's really the goal of this entire book, is just for people to start thinking about what they're doing and about their lifestyles and about their health.
Boys, you're so inspirational. I cannot tell you how proud I am of you guys, how amazing this work is, how many lives it's going to affect in such a positive way. I'm excited to give it to my 8-year-old and for her to read it as a nice little prompt to teach her how it's cool to be healthy. And for teenagers especially, let's create this revolution all together. Boys, it's wonderful. Where can people find the book? Where can they learn more about you and follow you guys on your podcast as well?
So honestly, you can pre-order today at theteenhealthrevolution.com to get our free 4 PDFs bonuses, which comes with the book if you buy it on theteenhealthrevolution.com on our website. You can pre-order on Amazon, as it's already a bestseller. And you can, when it comes out, you can buy it on your local Barnes & Nobles, really any store that sells books. Yeah.
Even on Amazon, it's there.
Yes, and you can find us specifically The Holistic Kids Show, or The Holistic Kids. We're on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, lots of general social media platforms.
You can check out our website for that to get maybe look into what we're doing and to make sure go into our course. Yes.
That's amazing. You guys have a course? I didn't even know that. That is wonderful. I'm so happy that you guys are putting all this stuff together. You're building out this empire of teaching kids to be healthy. I honestly could not be more proud of you. I'm so happy that you guys are doing this. I will be sending everybody to your podcast, and I'm going to be sending copies of your books to so many of my friends. I'm really honored that you guys are doing this. Keep up the amazing work. Keep changing this. Let's revolutionize teen health. Thank you, guys.
It's really been our pleasure. Thank you so much for having us
Thanks
today.
so much.